Hi everyone, I am here today with my good friend Tracy McKenica from McKenica and Associates here in Hudson. And I decided to reach out to a few of my favorite insurance agents and try to help educate you all about something most of you dread talking about, and that is insurance. I know being a realtor and an agent, obviously, real estate agent rather, I'm always working with first-time home buyers. And so this topic comes up all the time. So I thought it would be very helpful for everyone out there. So, Miss Tracy, thank you for being with me today and
You're
doing this
welcome.
interview. I know it's always crazy to do these, but it's
Yeah.
fun.
No, thank you for having me.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about yourself, the agency, maybe things that people don't know about you out there, like personal things that interest you, and how you got into this business.
Well, how I got into the business is an easy one. My dad started with AllState in 1973 in a Sears store back in the day.
Oh, wow.
When you used to be able to buy insurance at a department store. So he started with them in 73. He became the first neighborhood agent in Ohio in the, I believe it was late 80s, early 90s. And I joined the agency in 2002 when I relocated back to the area and was looking for a job different from what I was doing, still in sales, but something that was a little closer to home. And my dad said, hey, would you ever think of coming to work with me? And so we had the opportunity to work together for almost 20 years. And I took over the agency when he retired.
Awesome. And I have to say, so I used to work at Allstate. That's kind of how I stumbled across your agency. I started work right out of college, a couple months beforehand in 1993, actually. And at that time, we got a discount through Allstate. They offer it to their employees for the coverage, which is so nice. So, of course, I'm young. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get Allstate. And I asked everyone, who's the best agent around? Bob McKenica's name came up a million times. And Bob was really active with the claims department. He was just a great guy. And unfortunately, he did pass away.
He did.
And we miss him dearly, I know, but Tracy's doing a great job of continuing his legend here at Allstate at his office. So one of the questions that I wanted to talk about today is sometimes people always say, well, insurance isn't cheap, is cheapest the best? Is it the best? Like how people go online now and they're shopping, and it's so frightening because I just don't feel like they know what they're really looking for. What do you think about that? What can you share with us about that?
I'm a little biased because I am an office-based agent, but I feel like the online, yes, it's quick and easy, but I feel like there's so much opportunity to make a bad decision because you're not educated necessarily on everything that an agent would be educated on. We have training, we have licensing, we have continuing education. We understand the coverages and can explain them in layman's terms and help customers make good decisions. Quick and easy is great, but I think that, like I said, there's a lot of opportunity for mistakes when you do it that way. And a lot of times that rate that seems like a great rate online, the only reason it's as low as it is because there's coverage missing,
Right.
or the deductibles have been pushed above sometimes what somebody can really come up with in the event that there's a claim. And they don't often find out that that's a problem until something happens and there's a claim. And then suddenly, then they realize that that great deal isn't doing them any good.
Right. Yeah, and it's a great time, when you're buying that first home, it's a great time to check around, meet with a couple agents, give them a call. They're always available. They've got great staff, and ask those questions and make sure you're getting the coverage that's appropriate. I know that when I'm with people in these houses, we live in Northeast Ohio, right? So I'm always saying, hey, when you get your insurance, make sure that you check out water backup coverage. And they're like, what's that? Well, we have moisture in Northeast Ohio.
Right.
We have water that will come into our basement sometimes. So that coverage will help provide you a peace of mind should a claim occur. Or how many of them out there have just got engaged?
Right.
Oh, you have a nice ring. Is that ring insured? Like there's limits on jewelry on most of these policies, right? So
Correct.
did you get, and did you pay for that extra coverage? Because I know I used to work in jewelry at Allstate, and there was so many that got lost in the water, in the ocean, just so many different scenarios, or stolen or what have you. So very important stuff to know that you can help us figure out, right? So that's great. I know, so we talked about that, why we probably don't want to do that online. It's best to meet with somebody in person. And then also, what do you have other offices, or is this Hudson one just the only office right
No,
now?
we have 3 offices. I have a location in Streetsboro, I have a
Okay.
location across from Macy's at Summit Mall, and then the main location here in Hudson. So I've got 15 staff. They
Wow.
do, a lot of the customer facing, work here in the agency. I try to make myself available for the more complex situations, claims, things like that come up where customers really feel like they need, some extra attention and handholding to get through
Sure.
something. So that's kind of more, what I handle. But, you know, I think my entire team is focused on getting to know our customers, you know, from at the initial, initial introduction, and throughout their, customers' tenure with us. But it's important for us to understand, understand our customers. What do they do for a living? Maybe there's something, an opportunity for us to discuss commercial insurance, or maybe if they're, a physician or something like that, maybe they have a little higher profile and there's coverage that we should be looking at because they could be a target for a liability suit. Um, what assets does the customer have to protect? We can't recommend what limits you should carry until we understand what you're protecting.
Sure.
And you not only have the things you have today to protect, but you have your future income and the things you'll acquire, as you go through your lifetime to protect as well. So having those frequent conversations with our insureds, allowing us to make sure that their limits are, meeting the current needs, that they have the right coverages, the right policies. All of those things are really important, and they're really difficult for a customer to do on their own without assistance.
I just got a headache just thinking about all that. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of stuff. And I mean, it really, insurance is with you for life, right? And I'm sitting here just thinking that. And as you're saying, a lot of those statements and the questions that come up, and life changes, and you get your first home and it's the house, and you don't have children probably yet.
Mm-hmm.
And your assets are smaller, right? But then you move to the second house, and now you've got 2 kids and
Right?
a dog, and maybe you have your own business. And I mean, things just keep
Right.
evolving. Then the kids start driving.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Oh my gosh, I don't think that was like the worst time ever when 3 kids were driving at the same time. But again, they're driving, and then you got to revisit that. And
Yeah.
then they start getting older, and who knows what they're doing out there. So you need to protect yourself and your liability so nobody can sue you, is another
Yep.
topic.
Very
I mean,
important.
it just keeps going. So thank goodness I've had you by my side
Happy
these
to do
past
it.
28 years, because it's been quite the run. And you guys have done great. And I've
Thank
had
you.
claims, and they were handled wonderfully. So anything else you can tell the people at home as far as questions they need to ask when they're just shopping, like general questions to think about?
Um, I mean, I think as a first-time home buyer, it's the first thing you have to really understand is all of the coverage basics. What is dwelling coverage? What is liability coverage? What does it do for you? What about medical payments? What about contents coverage? Once you understand the basic coverages, then your agent can talk to you about, okay, understanding your situation. Let's talk about that jewelry coverage and getting your ring protected. Oh, you've got a dog too. Let's talk about pet health insurance. You've got a basement. Let's talk about water backup. You can kind of go through, those coverages in more detail based on your situation. But some of the big ones right now, water backup, as we talked about, and scheduled personal property, the jewelry coverage. Those are 2 really important ones. 2 other ones we're seeing a lot of right now is most policies offer some kind of extended coverage. And basically, this is there in the event that you suffer a total loss to ensure that your home can be rebuilt with like, kind, and quality of materials, with the coverage that's available on the policy. Right now, all of those construction labor costs and material costs are way up. So if a customer has a loss today, it's going to cost more for that insurance company to pay to rebuild that home than it would have 2 years ago or 5 years ago.
Wow.
So having this, you can have some extra coverage built in, so you've got a little bit of a cushion, a little bit of extra coverage available if your loss happens to occur at a time when those costs are high. So that's a great protection to have. Another one is building codes. I live in a 1926 home. I don't know what's in the walls.
Right.
And chances are, if I have a serious claim, if I were to have a fire or an electrical issue or something like that, there's probably going to be updates that need to be made to bring my house to current code. if I have building codes coverage, my insurance company is going to write that check. If I don't have that coverage, the cost of that expense can become a huge out-of-pocket responsibility for the homeowner.
Wow. Yeah, and that's super interesting because that's one I don't think about when I'm looking at these older homes with people, and it is an additional cost and something they need to keep in the back of their mind is the code because it does change and evolve constantly. Those are the other one I was thinking about, and you didn't mention, but what about identity? Is there identity coverage, identity theft type
There
coverage?
is. There's
People get that?
They do. There's so many outside providers now
Okay.
that offer that. That's kind of typical. I know even
Okay.
AllState has their own identity protection product that's available not through agencies but online. We do have coverage we can add on a homeowner's policy. It's a little more limited. It's not as much monitoring as helping clean up the mess if you become a victim of identity theft. But kind of going back on that old home, thinking about that, the other thing that's really important on your house is understanding how settlement occurs if you have a claim. Some policies offer what's called functional replacement, which just means that they're only responsible for paying for a material that does the same function as what you had before. So if laminate flooring can fulfill the same function as original hardwood floor, all you get is laminate. That's all they're paying on the settlement. Like, kind, and quality means if you have hardwood, you get hardwood. If you have, solid wood doors, you get solid wood doors. And when you're in an older home that has a lot of character, that can be really an important coverage.
Wow. So informative. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So if anyone wants to get a hold of you or your team, how can they reach you?
Our main office location in Hudson, the phone number is 330-650-2917. Office hours Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 5:30. Friday we have a short day. We're 9 to 5. So you can reach us during those business hours. You can also reach me via email at tmckenica1@allstate.com. That's TMCKENICA1@allstate.com.
Well, thank you so much. This is great. I hope everyone at home got something out of this. And again, if you need anything insurance-wise, Tracy can handle it for you.
Let us know. We're happy to help.
Thank you.